Well, as you all know, we say the same thing over and over. Why? Because if we start putting descriptions, different concepts on it, people might get locked into and want to hear more concepts and ideas, but we try to keep it as simple as we can. Because what we talk about is only one essence. The one essence that's patterning, shaping, forming, experiencing and expressing as everything. And what they tell you, the great mantra is, I am that. And innately you already know that, don't you? Because you say, that's the chair you're sitting on. That's the carpet on the floor. That's the tree. That's the flower. Can't you hear?
Can you hear all right? Yeah. Okay.
Everything is that already. And that they talk about is the one essence that's patterning, shaping and forming, experiencing and expressing as everything. What they call God or the Absolute or the Great Perfection or Presence Awareness or being, knowing, loving to be, as they say in Hinduism, or existence, consciousness, loving to be again. Nama Rupa, the name and form, they say are Maya, pointing out there's only the one essence. So if that's so, I can't teach you anything. And I can't tell you anything. And neither can anybody else. Because it's all the one essence. Now, who is there to tell you what? If it's not divided or split up or separated. I can only point and ask you to look to where we're pointing to with the words and see for yourself. Because you realise from that nobody can ever teach you anything and nobody can ever tell you anything. If it's all the one essence, who can separate it? Or what can it be separated from? They call it space-like awareness, awareness in space. Can anyone find a centre to space? Can't hear. Can you hear?
There's some music playing. I don't know why.
Yeah, we can hear the music.
That's not what it was.
Yeah. So, that's all we do is point towards that one essence, which they call, you can call the Absolute or the Great Perfection or God. And all these concepts are words and ideas which discriminate it. And the word's not the thing. Take the word water. Can you drink that word? Can you swim in it? Can you wash in it or drown in it? You can't. Take the word fire. Can you cook with it? Can you heat yourself with it? You can't. So the word's not the thing. And every word you've ever spoken has been learnt. You were not born with any words. The life essence that's pattern and shape formed that body appears in this basic space, the silence or the stillness or the emptiness, or another label you can put on it is awareness. Anybody who's unaware right now, no, you say, I'm aware. Anybody who's not existing right now, no, you are existing. Anyone who's not happy to be, that's the Satchitananda. Well, nobody would want to be dead right now, so you must be that. So you are that beingness right now. So what are you searching for? If that is all there is, well, you must be searching because you've got some belief that you are separate, or a separate entity, an individual or a person. And when did that come about? You realise when you investigate it, have a look, it came about when you learnt words. Because the first couple of years of your life you had no words. Yet you were breathing, your heart was beating. You were little child, little baby was laughing or crying or doing different sorts of things, but you were functioning quite well without the word. Just as in this manifestation, there are many, many things out there that are not using words. The earth's rolling around the sun, the seasons are coming and going, the tides are coming in and out. We put labels on the earth, the sun, the seasoning, and all the rest of it, but without the word, they're still functioning, still going on. Just the same as you without the word. You're still breathing, heart still beating, hair and fingernails growing, food's being digested. The functioning's happening. You take the words and learn the words. What words do we learn? I. The basic first word we learn is I am. The sense of presence. Your parents tell you a little Billy or little Johnny or little Jane or whatever your name might be. And that's when we start to learn words. Up till that point you haven't got any words, and like a lot of, as I say, a lot of other things in the manifestation are functioning quite well without the word. We have these human patterns which have learned words. Other animals, birds and things don't have words, but they have sounds. A bird can have a sound which might mean there's food here, or there's danger here, another sound, or calling out for a mate. And they haven't learnt the words, and animals can do that too, make sounds. But these human patterns have developed the capacity of reasoning and learnt words. But the thing is, we've taken these words to be real, not realising that they're just vibrating patterns of energy, like the song of a bird. Like you pluck a guitar string, it'll make a sound, and that sound we can make into a musical note. So we've learnt all these language and words, and that's what's separated us. We learned words like I and me, and being a vibration, the sound's a vibration. The vibration is a movement of energy. It vibrates in the opposites. So as soon as there's I, we believe it is this single entity, and there must be other than I, the opposites. And have a look at that, and have a look at this thing you call mind. See how it's functioning. It's always vibrating in the pairs of opposites. It's either good or bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, good, pleasant, painful, yeah. Have a look at your mind and see if it functions any other way than in the interrelated opposites. So as soon as we got this word, the opposite must be there. So the words, believing in the words, are our problem. They can be very useful and utilised, but they can be self-destructive, because that's that same I concept. When we learn I, we can't do much with I or me, so we add to it, I am Bob, the Australian, the good fella, or not so good. I'm unhappy, I'm fearful, I'm anxious, depressed, or I love this, or I want that. So the discrimination goes on, and we're discriminating anything with the word. And every word you've ever spoken, or ever likely to speak, has been picked up along the way. It's been learnt. Because look at a little child, a little baby. How many words has it got? How many words did you have? That's why you can't remember your birth. Because you didn't have any words. And you didn't learn any words till you were about 2, or somewhere around that age, might have been a bit younger, a bit older, when we picked up words from our parents. So the word's not the thing. You can't drink the word water. Fire won't burn you. So what's this word I? Another word. Saying I, we've added on to that I am. That's the primary sound, which we differentiated a bit. Was the primary sound, as I say, was Om. I am. And when they break it down. And this I, we think is separate, not seeing it's the one essence. Now, when we're related to this conceptual image, this image we believe as I am, that's what we call the person. Where does that word person come from? It comes from ancient Latin persona, the mask. So we've got a conceptual image on ourselves now. An image made up of thoughts, ideas, concepts. What's a concept? A mental construct. What's a mental construct? Sound. What's the sound? Words are sound. What's sound? Sound's a vibration. And a vibration is a movement of energy. So it's this life essence that's patterning, shaping, forming, vibrating and appearing as everything. There's still only that one life essence. But to see, we put the label onto the I as this persona, this mask. And we've seemingly separated ourselves from the totality. Instead of seeing that we're already that, and there is only one essence that the ancient text and scriptures will tell you, only one essence that's patterning, shaping, forming, appearing and expressing it as everything. And it all can be broken down into that pure energy. As I say, I just broken down to the sound, down to a vibrating pattern of energy. What about this body, mind? We believe ourselves are. We believe that's where we're taken on. We put all these sounds and words on it, and we're told. Our parents tell us, your little Johnny or your little Billy, and you realize to that word, other words you've learnt, I am. Then you become I am Bob, or I am little Johnny, or I am Bill. Put this label, conceptual on. But so now we believe we are this persona, this mask, a conceptual image, which is a mask, which hide our true nature, which is the one essence patterning, shaping, and forming and expressing as everything. And everybody hearing that?
Yes.
Yes.
No, we can't. Sorry. Really, I can't. I have to strain to hear you. This one not working? I can hear. Yeah. It's not very loud.
No, it's not.
It's a bit challenging to hear.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can hear you
Unless we
voice-wise,
put
but
this back a bit.
The thing is not what where he's transmitting.
We'll get it going
Maybe
eventually.
move this one a bit further back, like so it's closer.
Now it's
Is
right.
it-
You've heard it all before anyway, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it too
Yeah,
much.
no, yeah. But the doors, those will have bigger change. Try the hole?
How's that? Better?
Yeah, it is working. Whose phone is that? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Whose phone is
Whose
that?
phone?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, now I lost where. I'm not going to start again. Just say thank God for it.
Persona, you're up to persona.
Pardon?
You're persona. Persona. The mask. The mask.
Yeah. Anyway, we've all taken on this conceptual image and believe ourselves in this, but are you the body? Question it. That's what I say. We need to investigate these things and see for ourselves. We believe we are the body-mind, mainly because our parents told us so, then our schools reinforce it, and we start reinforcing it ourselves. And we believe I am this person, I am this body, mind, entity. But are you the body? And you say, my body, my mind. Don't you say my coat, my car, my house? And you know damn well you're not the coat, or the car, or the house. Well, maybe you're not the body either, if you investigate it. And in question, have a look at it. What's this body made up of? You see this body made up of elements. Air, earth, fire, water, space. They're the elements. So take the air out of your body. Stop breathing. See how long you'd last without that. So that's not the body. It's a part that's expressing a patterning as the body. Take the fire, the body temperature. You won't last too long without that. Get out of space, away from space if you can. You can't postulate or think of anything. You'll be outside of space. Take the water out of the water, take the fire, take the earth, what else? Anyway, all those elements can be broken down into subatomic particles. And that's all the body is, a vibrating pattern of that intelligence energy. It's vibrating into all these different particles. Take this thing you call mind. Again, you say, my mind. Well, show me a mind if you can. Again, you say, my mind, my coat, my car, my house. You know, innately you know also that you're not the mind. Well, what is mind when you break it down? Your mind's just nothing but a concept, a thought. What's thought again? Thought's sound. What's sound? Sound's a vibration. A vibration's a pattern of energy. So it's still the same intelligence energy that's patterning, vibrating, expressing as this manifestation. And they tell you, again, that the manifestation is Maya. It's illusion. It's a phenomenal manifestation. And what's the definition of phenomena? The definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. And then I went only seemingly so, appearances seems to be so. So this manifestation is Maya, as they say, it's illusionary. It's not reality. And as I say, they call it the absolute or the great perfection. What can you add to the absolute? You can't add anything to the absolute. It wouldn't be absolute. What can you take away from the absolute? Nothing. It wouldn't be absolute. The great perfection. The Buddhists call it the great perfection. And they describe it as the great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. Awareness without any of these concepts, thoughts or ideas or images going on. Well, like we're trying to point out here we're breaking everything down to pure, the absolute or the great perfection. It's all the one essence, it's vibrating, patterning, shaping, expressing as everything. So you are not anything other than that. So you already are that absolute. Now you might start to get the idea that what I'm believing I'm something else. I'm separating myself from the absolute. And I've got to become something. I've got to practice something and see something to become the absolute. The being can never be becoming. And you call yourself a human being. And if you believe in a God, you'll call God the Supreme Being. What if you take that label off, Supreme, and the label human off? What are you left with? Just the pure being. Try and separate yourself from that being right now. Can you say you are not? No, you can't negate that beingness. You can say, I am not a million times. But the very fact of saying it enables that you must be it to be able to say it. Not the word that comes out, their expressions of it, or not the body that it's in. That's where patterns it expresses there. But the pure life energy, it's pure life energy itself. Only that. And have a look at that. Take the life out of the body, what do you got? You've got a corpse. Now that corpse, before it starts to rot, it's got eyes, got ears, got heart, lungs. All the organs are there, kidneys, heart, all the organs are there. But there's no life energy expressing through it. So it's a corpse. Where does it go? It goes back into the essence where it came from. The pure intelligence energy. So nothing is really lost, except the pattern, shape and form breaks down. Just like when the cloud cools down and becomes water or ice, the ice will melt with a bit of heat, and heat will evaporate the water, so it becomes the mist again, the essence again. So it's never changed its true nature. So you are that pure being and knowing to be, or loving to be, right here, right now. So investigate and see these things for yourself. Or if you believe the other person you're going to get somewhere, we'll carry on the search. How long have you been searching for? And most of us have been searching for a long time. And you've never got the answer. Why? You're intelligent people, not idiots. Maybe it might just dawn on you, well, where have you been looking? And you realise I've been searching into my mind, trying to find the answer. I've looked into that, I've looked into that. Well, mightn't it just dawn on you, if you haven't found the answer after all these searching, you're not an idiot. It might just dawn on you, well, maybe I'm looking in the wrong direction. Looking in the mind for the answer. And a lot of the scriptures will tell you the peace is when the mind is not. They'll tell you you can never get that peace of mind. It's the nature of the mind to chatter, to vibrate, the Shakti or the energy going through it keeps it vibrating. You'll never get peace of mind. They tell you why. They say the peace is when the mind is not. That's why they call it the peace that passes all understanding. It means it can't be understood by the concept, by a thought, by the reading. And never look at that. If you ask yourself, where I've always been looking in the direction of the mind, what is there out of the mind? Well, we must read it. The only way out of the mind is full stop. Don't go there. Let the thought be as it is, but don't fixate it or go into it, because we believe we are thinking the thought. We are the thinkers of the thought. We are the seeing of the sights. Well, you are the thinking is happening and the seeing is happening. But when you say, oh, I think, what have you done? You think it's me, Bob the Australian, or this conceptual image has become the thinker, a subject. And the thoughts I'm thinking, this is a good thought or a bad thought, a pleasant one, has become the object. So what's subject-object? Dualism. So we're not coming from the absolute or the reality anymore. The same with the seeing. I see, you formed a subject. And I say this, I see this sight, whatever it might be, the tree and the flower, that become the object. So that's all this manifestation that's happening. It's seemingly divided conceptually into dualism. But they say it's non-dual. It's one without a second, not two. One without the other. just pure intelligence energy. Being, knowing and loving to be. So I say here, start from the fact, whether you know it or not at this moment, start from the fact that you are that. And when it comes up, I haven't got it or I haven't understood it, you're who? You must realise then it's this conceptual image that's trying to become something and not recognising its true nature. Anyone who's not being right now, with that life, has gone out of the body, there's a corpse. And what's a corpse do? Can't see, can't hear, can't be aware, can't do anything at all. So, what must be doing it? And it must be the life itself. So that is what you really are, the life, like the Christ told you, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Not talking about himself, but talking about that sense of presence that translates through the mind as the thought I am. Because it is, when you take that thought on, you've separated yourself from the Absolute. But without that thought, have you stopped breathing? Has your heart stopped beating? Hair and fingernails stopped growing? Food stopped being digested? No. You give up all those thoughts when you go to sleep at night, but it's not the end of you. So that low intelligence energy is functioning without the conceptual image at all. So the realisation comes about that I am already that essence. And if you are already that, then what do you need to do? You need to stabilise in that, because we've believed ourselves to be this conceptual image, this separate entity, for so long, for so many years, and been reinforced by our schools, parents, society, and everybody around us is reinforcing it when they learn words. We point out the word's not the real, and when you go to sleep at night, where are the words then? But is it at the end of you? We must get the taste and a few of those things that have been said, that you can get on quite well without the word. You are that life. You are that intelligence energy. And what's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? And look at that, and you see, if you pause the thought, do you disappear? Is it the end of you? It's not. But without the thoughts or the words, without putting the labels on it or the descriptions, which can never be the described, then there's still the seeing, the hearing, the tasting, the touching, the smelling, the functioning, and there's still a knowing, an innate knowing. You're knowing what everything is. As they say, seeing no thing, yet it is seen. Look around the room right now and see what you think. You realise you're seeing everything in the room, but what if you're not labelling it? Not putting the word on it. You know you're not seeing just an homogeneous mass there. There's a natural seeming separating going on. You're just seeing different patterns, shapes and forms, but they are really no thing. Because all this manifestation is made up of things. You are a thing, I'm a thing, the tree's a thing, the flower's a thing, the earth's a thing, which we put labels on. We discriminate those things into trees, flowers and everything else. Can something come from no thing? Because the basic screen in which everything is appearing in it is that silence, that stillness, that emptiness, vibrating into these different patterns, shapes and forms. And doesn't that mean that they're capable of being divided into these patterns, shapes and forms? Doesn't that mean that they are suffused with an innate intelligence that's enabling to pattern in all this wondrous manifestation that life is? seemingly so, but we put the labels on and makes that vibrating pattern into something real, including making ourselves and are believed in this person, this imaginary individual person. But take off the imaginary individual, what are you left with? The absolute. So you don't have to try and become it or do anything about it. Whereas you must drop back into it while that life is there. And even when the life is not there, there's nobody no pattern, shape or form to recognise it through it. It's still the life that's functioning, manifesting itself and everything. So there's never been anything other than life. And life lives on life, and out of life more life comes. So you are already that. So, got any questions, any doubts, any arguments? Like it, don't like it, do what you like. Tell us all about it. Because a few of you here have had recognitions of it, great signs of it. But a lot of us, most of us, everybody has seen glimpses of it, down to the line, but we've never stabilised in it. Never established ourselves with that confidence, that necessary realisation or recognising or knowing. So ask your questions or give us what your version of it is. But away you go.
I have a couple of comments from online. So, there's one more just coming. Hi everyone online. We have love messages. John David sends love to everyone, especially you. And Amarnath says, greetings. Being cannot become, is already pure, is quoting you. And another one, answer is not in the mind, person, also quoting you. And peace is there when the mind is not. And now we have just a new comment from Tanya. It is interesting that I am that, but awkwardness and not much to say appears when with apparent others. It is that, though, is saying having not much to say is bad, and that unpleasant sensations arise and the thought is not true. That thought and feeling appearing means there is a belief in the separate me, or quietness is just what is appearing and there is nothing right or wrong about that, which seems closer to the truth. Yes, Tanya answering her own questions beautifully. Whatever appears, appears. Whether there is chatter, whether there is silence, is silence.
Yes, you don't have to force it on people.
Yeah.
They'll hear it, or something might come out that resonates with them.
And then if there is no thought appearing, and then there is idea that no thought is bad, that's just another thing that is appearing.
That's right.
Or when there is an idea appearing, there is a thought, it means there is a separate me. That's just another idea. That's just another passing thought. And Amarnath says, dear loving Bob, can you speak on knower and known are false? Knower and known are false.
Well, who is the knower? Is it the thought I am? Me, Bob, or is that the knower? Or is there a knowing? A pure knowing, just the same as being or living it.
Just like digester and digesting. There's just digesting, not separate. The duality of the knower and known, seer and seen, breather and breath are just conceptual in the mind. None of them would exist without the action of the functioning. So they are just two ends of the stick, but there is one stick.
Yeah.
And we have Sherry, so simply and beautifully pointed, allowing to experience it without intellectual thoughts. Thank you. Yeah, that's the magic of the spiel. Tanya, how do you establish yourself as that? Still seems like I am the body, although the body appears in as awareness. No separation between seeing, body, feeling sensations, and that awareness.
Yeah. Well, awareness is the base in which everything appears in. It's another term for God or the Absolute, if you like. You know, anybody who's unaware right now? No, you're not unaware right now. If you're not unaware, you must be aware. He's not chewing on the cord, is he?
No,
No, he's playing with it with his foot.
He'll get a big shock if he does. When you see him light up, you'll say. Yes, if you're not unaware, you must be aware. But can anyone say what awareness is? Can't. So that's all you know. You know you're not unaware, so you must be aware.
Now we have the request from John David. Can you talk about your experience after leaving Nisargadatta and when the conviction became firm that you are the awareness?
Well, it was recognised when I heard Nisargadatta tell me that I wasn't the body or the mind. And I've heard that you're not the body or the mind many times before, but somehow there was something more in it, or I'd opened up more, I don't know. But I heard it. And it wasn't the same. Though for a while I kept falling into the old trap for a time. But it got less and less, the more it was recognised, the less and less real it became. Till I can still say the words now, but it doesn't mean much to me at all. Just the same as when we first learned the word, I am little Johnny. I didn't know much. The more and more we recognised it and heard it from other people and saw it through it, it became established in the belief that I am this person, I am this separate entity, that I couldn't be anything else. And what you're saying is bullshit. So believe that too if you want to.
I remember hearing.
Have this one?
Oh, shit. This is very serious.
Stand up.
Like me too. I was just really going to say, I remember hearing Mark West talking about his meeting with when he met you and Nisargadatta, and then he described like the recognition was there at that time, but there was 7 or 8 years after. 7 or 8 years went on where the patterns would just keep consuming. The old patterns would just keep coming up, and it took him about that long to sort of really establish all whatever. There was someone asked a question about it, and I was just
when the conviction was
that's it. Yes.
Yes.
And that's just his description on it. And I don't have any convictions or anything else to say on the matter. Thank you.
Yes, so Bob, would you elaborate on when your conviction was firm? Was it straight away, or did it take time for the conviction to get firm?
Well, in the seeing of it, it's immediate. But then it should come, and the habits would come up now and again, but it was never the same again. You couldn't, once you see something as false, you really can't believe it again. So the thing is to question it again. If it seemingly come up, I saw through this the other day, is it true? Well, I'll have another look.
Yeah.
And if you have another look and question it, if it's false, the false can't stand up to investigation. It falls apart.
And I'll just add for Tanya, you've seen through it, Tanya. So
Yeah.
the thing is, whenever the thought appears, instead of listening to the content of the thought, realize that thoughts wouldn't appear if there was no consciousness or awareness. So whatever the thought is saying is a secondary sort of news. I mean, the first information that the thought conveys by its mere appearance is that there is a space of awareness in which the thought appears. What the thought is saying is not that big of a deal. The thought may say, "Oh, I am a body," or "I am a mind," or "I am a god," or "I am whatever." But who cares? Don't listen to it. I mean, it's just as much as the functioning part comes, the body will follow instructions. But the chatter, the narrative, is something that you just kind of overlook. You go back from your head to the heart of being, to the fact that thought would not exist if you didn't exist. Yeah, the thought wouldn't show up if you didn't exist. So the existence is the number one news, and then the secondary stuff is the content of the thought to be questioned. Because that's really the only obscuration that's the only way we distract ourselves from the true nature. There is a being, existence, consciousness, bliss, whatever you want to call it. And then there is a distraction. And distraction can be a strong pain or other sensation or sight or sound or thought. Thought is just another sensation that distracts you from the awareness of being. And if it distracts you completely, to the point that you completely detached from the awareness of being and attached or identified with the sensation or the thought, that's when the suffering comes. And that's when the separation starts. Separation is only believed. It doesn't have real existence. It doesn't exist until you believe it into existence, just like Santa Claus. It can't exist unless you believe it, you say it is. So if you say there is a separation, right away you will find the evidence for it. Oh, look, my body. Oh, it's separate. From what? From air? It's not. From water? It's not. It's constantly exchanging everything, informations, reactions, responses, the elements with the environment. It is not separate. But we say it is because the eyes are telling us that this frequency or this is dense and this is not dense, so there is a separation. But there isn't. It's only believed in. If we stop believing it, we will stop finding evidence for it. And that's in every distraction, whether it is sensory or whether it's a thinking, which thought is the sensor, is the sense as well. So if you remember that you are that existence, and that existence is the base, this is the most obvious, the most intimate, the most relatable and instantaneously experienceable fact. In fact, is undeniable. It can't be denied. And on top of it, there is various ways the world distracts you from that awareness by engaging attention with thinking and seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. But seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling is the kind of like a first generation attention engagement, because this is something that is happening in the immediacy, even though it is translated by the mind and by the thought. But then you have the overlay of imagination, when you overlook the seeing, hearing, and you go into imagining. I'm the body, I'm this, I'm that, I shouldn't, these people should. That's imagination. That's actually redirecting the attention away from the immediacy of the senses into something that is not, into speculating. So this one only needs to be recognized because this is a habit. Nobody is guilty of doing anything wrong if that is happening. That is happening because our parents, grandparents, everyone around, teachers, everyone around has that habit, and that habit is supporting a functioning in certain extent. Only when exclusively, fanatically followed, it causes the solidifying that sense of separation, isolation. So it is just about the recognition. When you see that the attention is taken away by the thought, and that's all that needs to happen. The attention got sucked out through the hole of the imagination, or the attention got distracted elsewhere. And that's it. Just seeing the movement of attention, seeing the movement of the mind is enough, because where are you seeing from? You're already being the awareness in which the mind is moving, the attention is moving. So you are already free from that movement of attention. You are the one, the awareness of that movement. Recognizing the thought, recognizing sensation, recognizing whatever it is as the passing phenomena, as the cloud moving through the sky. You're already a sky. You see the clouds, you are the sky. You're not the cloud. Cloud cannot know itself. It has to leave itself to actually see itself as a cloud. So you're not the thought. You're not the body. You're not the sensation. You're the awareness of it. And of course, to make it a little bit more confusing, ultimately you are everything, including sensations, thoughts, and bodies, but not exclusively one, but collectively all of it. I think there are some other comments, so you keep it and I'll have a look. Oh, you can give it to me now. Okay, so there is a comment. Amarnath says, "Thank you, Kat. Existence is primary, thoughts are secondary. Separation is a notion." And Tanya, thank you for the reminder that any thoughts are not reality and not to listen to them. Separation is not real. You're right, it is only thought conditioned since childhood. Seeking more insight is a distraction. Yes, seeking is always kind of distraction, yes. Insights flow when the mind is open and empty, not when it's seeking. Seeking is taking you away from the being, from the presence. Amarnath, thinking problem is there itself, is the primary problem. All is well. Go on, Julia.
Well, I hear the word seeking a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that word needs maybe more. I don't know. I would like more clarification, because to me, seeking is not just seeking what I am or what you are or what God is, or it's seeking is happiness. I'm trying to get happiness.
Yeah.
That whether it's seeking it in the form of a job or a success or a girlfriend or a baby or getting my way or pleasure or whatever it is, that to me is also seeking.
What does seeking imply?
That I'm not already enough as I am.
Well, it is a seeker.
Wait.
Yeah, that too.
The seeker,
Well, that first.
but the seeker is the
first.
problem.
Yeah, that there's a me to not be enough. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's enough.
That's it?
Yeah, what more could there be?
Okay.
So the seeking implies, so if I'm seeking a job or like seeking like fame and riches, there's implying, because I'm looking for that there's someone here to look.
Well, there's lack. There's lack.
It's lack. There's someone here to lack.
Yeah.
That doesn't have enough. Yeah.
I need something other.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And how do you know, like, as if someone is seeking? How would you know if someone was seeking?
Know whether anybody's seeking or not. The one that's doing the seeking.
Can you repeat it? Can you say it again? I wouldn't know.
If someone would, yeah.
Yeah, we just wanted the people who are with us online to hear it. Yeah, one who's doing seeking would know, right?
I would know what anyone
Yes.
is seeking, but if someone that's doing the seeking would know. I'm seeking.
Yeah.
I haven't got this. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction, because there is a natural sort of an action, the movement. Like if you look at the animals in nature, they're looking for food, but there is no sense of a separate seeker, or they're looking for partner, but there is no sense of a seeker focusing on the lack and having the poor me sort of an attitude. So the natural movement towards pleasure and avoiding pain is a part of survival instinct. But the narrative creates the seeker, the deficient me. that needs something to complete itself. You know, I'm not enough. I need to complete myself. So yes,
It
you.
not only applies to the seeker, it applies to the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless somebody rely on a seeming person.
Mm.
And there are no
That's the
seekers.
narrative. Yes. And oopsie, go on, Julia.
I just said there are no seekers. Nothing. It's not important. It's all right.
Serious technology.
Yeah.
Tech problems today.
Tech challenges. Anyone?
Well, the stabilising
Can you pass
know,
that?
Pass that down, please.
what Bob mentioned about stabilising or the conviction stage, you could see that as a form of seeking, you know, like I'm not there yet.
Yes.
And then that just keeps you kind of, you know, in that trap. Could you speak about that more, Bob? You know, that idea of stabilising that you mentioned.
Yeah, go on,
Well-
stabilizing.
Go on stabilising.
If you're
yeah.
seeking or looking or stabilising, it's a belief. You know, there is somebody to be stabilised or think or say right. And the belief is the problem. The dictionary definition of belief is that which
Appears to be.
yeah, that should be an unaccepted. What is it?
Yeah, the definition of belief is the unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence
Of reason.
of reason. Yeah.
Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof.
Mm.
Excuse me.
I'll have a sip.
Now, you either believe something or you know it. Do you know that you are, or do you believe that you are?
Mm.
Isn't there a knowing that I am?
The knowing. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm believing that I am, when? How?
We have another comment here from Julia. With all that is going on in the current dream timeline, there is a gratitude for awakening. When more of us awaken, is this how the earth's vibration shifts out of fear into love? What a gorgeous story, isn't it?
The earth, the cosmos has always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's our translation and interpretation of it.
And the idea of that evolution of consciousness, shift from fear to love. Oh my God, it's just so beautifully romantic. But nothing ever happened. And nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be saved, fixed.
The two ends of the one stick
Mm.
are still the same thing, but different translations on each end.
Is the recognition that nothing is wrong rather than fixing the world.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that story. Now, Kiran, is seeking a clever way to keep mind alive, as in if I'm seeking constantly, I'm reinforcing the concept of time as seeking can only exist in time.
Yeah.
Beautiful point, Kiran. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, it all seems to taking place in time, but is there such a thing as time?
Mm.
Only if you think about it.
Yeah. And seeker and seeking are identical, Atul
They're
says.
cold.
Just a bit. I'm alright though.
The couple of blankets there in.
That's okay. I've got lots of things.
And also, John David says, non-conceptual awareness, full stop. You are not the body-mind. Come back to the basics of the teachings. Sailor Bob is the last stop. No need to compare or intellectualize this. There is ups. One more line. Okay. You are no thing. The mind can't grasp it because this is a thing. Don't leave until all doubts are cleared. Thank you, Bob, for all your love and patience with me over the years. Love ya.
Love you, Diamond.
John. Amarnath. Unless we forget ourselves, seeking cannot happen. So why to forget? What are you without thought or efforts? That's Amarnath calling Silo Bob. And Julia is laughing. Yeah, so that's for now.
I have something to say.
Please.
Oh no, that's okay. I can speak now.
But
Well, I mean, nothing important to say, but like just what's coming up is, as I was watching Bob just speak, and to be honest, like I'm not really efforting to listen. I'm just like letting it wash over me and being okay with that I'm a bit, jiggly and whatnot. And like as I was watching Bob, like I was seeing him smile, and like that in itself was like just beneath the words, and what he was saying was almost like I wanted to just celebrate what he was expressing, and that in itself brought me to an experience of being present with what he was saying. Like I don't really know exactly what he was saying or like really fully understand it intellectually, but when I dropped out of that need to try and really listen and like I got to understand this and go home and then analyze and think about it, and I'll just be like, he's here and he's speaking and he's smiling and everyone's laughing and it's amazing. And somehow that kind of brings you back to, there's no need to be like, is it the seeking, is it that, is it this, is it that, da, 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 da. It's just like it's all still in the mind, and like here we are all still trying to figure it out, like should we do this? But all of us know, all of us actually innately know exactly what Bob is saying. Like we all understand it's all there, and when we just like,
It relax the mind.
fuck, and then we go in, and then it's like you can just see like everyone smiling and laughing, and it's beautiful and magnificent. And I think that's why we're all here, right?
Oh wow,
So I feel like celebrating with all of you, like just like
It's that resonance.
That's the resonating.
That's innately, you know it already. It stirs a recognition of it, or stirs it up and take it from there.
And that's also a right way of listening. That's the listening with relaxed head, with just from the heart. You're totally responding to the energy, to the emotion, to the smile. This is it. I mean, gosh, you may spare yourself years of that intellectual turmoil when you try to grasp something that can't be grasped. Like Bob is saying, and it is really the only thing. There is only one thing about the whole non-duality that can be understood by the mind. And that one thing is that it can't be understood by the mind.
Yes.
If you get that, stop trying. There is no need to seek. And then that flowing with the energy happens from the heart. That's the beautiful. But a lot of us, if not most, unfortunately go through the round way, through the head and back to the heart.
That's okay, right? Like it's totally okay. Like,
that's how life has it.
The mind has a purpose and it's there for a reason, but it's just like, it's just like, okay, the mind's there, like woohoo, it's back. It's it's doing its thing, it's analyzing, and that's how our world works today. Like we have to analyze stuff, we have to figure out problems, we have to do our daily tasks and all that. So there is a need for the mind. But when, you just recognize like, the mind is here, it's trying to analyze, woohoo, drop down, and then like, here we are, like just present. And I think as well, like just something I'm noticing with the space and the energy is like, I think we're so taught in this society to try so hard, like to effort so hard, like someone's speaking intellectually. Even in schools we're taught, have to really listen, like use my mind, try and figure out this, try and understand. And even in our body language, all of us are like so like tension and tight, but it's like like follow the impulse to be like, wow, you feel whatever's happening and like express that, like move the body. Or you know, maybe Bob says something that really resonates with you deep and you feel a shiver. It's like, like express that, you know? Let the body move, let the body do its thing, as well as the, you know, awareness.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, well,
Too much talking.
No, it's it's a wonderful way of expressing non-resistance. You know, don't resist whatever's coming up. Like really be the space. In the space, if the energy is moving through you, space doesn't object to it; it lets it move. So that's the path of non-resistance. Just really flowing with life. That's the effortless being. Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you. I think we have something else on the screen there. And Sherry says, I could feel that celebration. Wonderful. Mind equals story, says Amarnath. There is no one in the story. And truth is the simplest of simple. Mind is complex, Amarnath says. Absolutely. And O'Toole, when the dance and dancer become one, that's it's only that's left. Yeah, they don't even need to become one. They actually are. They just it's a recognition. Really, it's like really nothing needs to happen. Recognition is a dawning. Like, yeah, like right. Oh, okay. I thought it's a Monday. I have to rush to work, to school, and then no, it's Sunday. I can sleep in. That's. The easiest thing for the quiet and the open mind, because when the mind is quiet and open, the heart comes forth, and the obviousness of being is undeniable. But when habitually attention goes to the distraction all the time, then the most obvious is overlooked, and that's the only thing. It's just being overlooked. It's still nothing wrong. It's still how life has it. But yeah, it can be just much simpler when you are the space for the flow of thinking, feeling, seeing, hearing, whatever, acting, moving.
When they say from the heart, people mistakenly think they're talking about the physical heart. Yeah, the sensation is around where the heart is. Yeah, the feeling, but it's not the heart itself. It's that life essence that's being contacted. Heart meaning the core of your being, the centre of the spirit. It's where the spiritual essence is.
Yeah.
And you'll say it was heartfelt. So it's that sensation or feeling from the core.
Apparently heart has pretty complicated nervous system there too, and some but that's just an echo. Body is just an image of the mind, the vehicle of expression.
If it's all one, it's all heartfelt anyway.
Yeah.
I think I'll just add one more point, sorry.
Please. That's
sorry, I'm just letting it rise.
Wonderful, just let it flow. Yes.
I think as well we kind of can't deny, like, so we're speaking about this very kind of literal factual understanding of reality and like how things are working and the heart and everything, but I think we also can't deny that like life and why we're here and where we came from, like everything is still a mystery. And I think when you invite that into your being, like, wow, like there is mystery. We actually don't fully understand everything. And how magnificent is that? Like, how magnificent? Because if we freaking knew everything, then fuck, why would we want to be here? Like, what would be the point? Like, oh, nothing to do. We know everything. We know why we're here. We know no purpose, nothing. So it's like, wow, like, to invite that thing of like, whoa, this is a mystery. Like, some of this I don't know. Some of this I will never figure out with my mind, but like, wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. And who knows what's going to happen, like, and that's beautiful too.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Let's watch the end of the movie before they start.
There is only love, Jane is saying, and Atul, you know more about yourself in the unknown. And Julia, Jane, yes, true, behind all fear is love. Yeah, Nisargadatta has a nice comment about what is fear but love for protection, for safety. Fear is a kind of almost a pure form of love. Like, I don't want anything bad to happen to me. I care, I love. And Estelle, yeah, just pointing, the sound was off, but I think the sound is back on again. I hope so. Yes, that's all. And Atul says, you know more about yourself in the unknown. Yeah, that's a different knowing. Everything you ever need to know is the fact of your own existence, and that one is undeniable. That one is known, regardless of the mind. That is known even when you get Alzheimer or brain damage. And it doesn't depend on the computer. It doesn't depend on the IQ or EQ or any of other qualification or capacities of the machinery.
What's the saying? Yesterday is history, but tomorrow is my story. Yesterday was his story.
History.
So there's no yesterday and no tomorrow, so where are all the stories going?
Yeah. David, you have any questions?
Not at the moment. But
Oh. David always has good questions. That really brings us up into the... Anyone else? Any questions or comments? Or
I have an unrelated question.
please.
Let's get this one.
Oh, no.
He wants to be on camera.
No,
okay.
it's not needed.
No worries. I'll put it out.
But if there's jelly beans, so why isn't there peanut beans?
Because if they are jelly beans, why there are no peanut beans? That's the call for your mission, a purpose in life. Design ones.
No, it's like been a thing for me all week. It's been bothering me. Really? If there are jelly beans, why are there no peanut beans? It's quite odd, really.
Yeah, that would be a wonderful way of contributing to the pleasures of humanities. Create the peanut beans. We have Amarnath saying, fear is love, two ends of one stick. And John David says, eternity is in love with the productions of time. That's a quote from William Blake. And Tanya says, yum, peanut beans. Yeah, so she's waiting for your invention. Would you add something else? You want to say something?
Oh, no, thank you. It's okay. I think I've said enough.
No, you can't have enough of the beautiful love, heartfelt energy.
But I don't want to force it. If it comes,
okay,
it
yeah,
comes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe George has something to say.
I hope not.
I'm going now.
You're not going for lunch with us?
No.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to go playing soccer.
Oh.
George, I'm gonna go
That's
with
fine.
dinner so you can join me.
So yeah.
Good luck with supper.
Mm.
You all say something.
Oh.
Just to get it going.
Yes.
Oops. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was just clipped onto this.
Yes. Yeah. Just.
Okay. Cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, I noticed I worked for a time in the corporate sector, and you were talking about our minds and how we need to use our minds, and sometimes because there's always problems to solve. And I was writing, quite complicated procedures in the workplace, and I didn't really care about the job. I didn't want to be in the corporate sector. I had a feeling I needed to be elsewhere. And what I did is I actually stopped worrying completely about the work, and I noticed that every single project I did still had that high level of, excellence, because I was pretty particular about the way I did my work, and I didn't want to leave any holes in the procedure. And I noticed that actually I wasn't the one thinking, right? Everything was still doing itself, and there was no me having to make an effort to do that procedure and have it perfect like it always had been. So I think it's important to recognise that even the thinking is not you that's doing the thinking, even in that analytical, productive way. And even, so for example, when you're trying to work out what am I going to do next, should I do this, should I do that? And I like that because Bob has said that once before, where when the solution is going to come, it comes. It's there. It's right there. There was no need to go through all that angst and, oh my God, I'm never going to know what I'm going to do, because bang. And that's what I noticed with working in the corporate sector, because I didn't care. I noticed that I didn't have to go through that initial angsty period. Oh my God, will I be able to do this? This is a different project. I've never done a project like this before. And so it just kind of just evolved, and the ideas that needed to arose, and the solution came. And, because it had always come, I had always been good at that job. So just that idea of resigning and letting go and just trusting, if you like, and not wanting things to be different to how they are, that sort of just riding the wave, like Razor's Edge, that idea.
No, that's beautiful. And yeah, go on, Julia.
I'm just throwing in that I once heard another non-duality speaker use the expression that he was not management material. And definitely this, whatever this is not management material. I'm more interested in non-duality talks than managing anything. And yet I've been thrown into being a manager. Have to make very corporate decisions. So I heard you, I think, saying about a week ago, something like, right thoughts will show up.
Yeah.
I sure hope that's true, because the right thought might be, well, I just am poor for the rest of my life or whatever, you know what I mean? Because the decision shows up, that might be the right thought, and that's like, no, I don't want that to be the right thought.
And you never know. Look, the greatest tragedies sometimes turns to the greatest blessings too.
Yeah,
you can't really say.
no.
Yeah, and also you actually had quite a few clear decisions already made that have shown up in your situation.
Everything is perfectly resolved in the unborn mind. Nature resolves itself.
Mm-hmm. And everyone is being lived. And yes, thoughts. This is beautiful aspect what Arati was just saying, that there is certain, like when you have the skill, there is an unconscious competence of that skill after its skill is mastered. Doesn't need the narrative. A narrative actually disturbs it. When you drive the car, if you would be telling yourself, okay, now I'm going to change the gear, now I'm going to apply you wouldn't be able to drive. So that competence is actually carrying on, just like the breathing or heartbeat. A lot of actions are just, you are being lived. And the thinking and decisions, they also arrive. And yes, if you are conditioned in a way to always find someone who will beat you up, and then you change your partners and they all abusive, yes, obviously there is a conditioning. I'm not talking about you. You have a beautiful husband, one for life. But but that's just, sometimes the skill is not mastered. And on autopilot, we commit the same mistakes. We re-traumatize ourselves because that's how the body is conditioned. And then decisions are being wrong, you know, like if you have the husband that beats you up and then you divorce him, another one is sweet for 2 years and then it beats you up and you divorce him, and the third one and the fourth one, and it always happens the same way, then yes, you are still being lived. But the pattern, like, you know, the pattern is kind of causing more harm than pleasure, but that's still life doing it.
Just all I'm saying is life in this moment has been lately, not this moment, because it's all a story, but you know, life has been requiring that I drive the car without lessons, without driving lessons or experience.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
There you go. Just get behind the wheel and wing it.
Yeah.
A little scary. That's all.
Always going to seem good.
Sorry?
Doesn't always have to be good. Leaving it as it is, you know, it'll change and it's vibrate into its opposite. And the thing that you might have dreaded happening, that does happen, then it'll turn itself around somewhere if you leave it as it is. That's happened in this, my life, so many times. It's all been taken away, and it's all turned around and come back again. And it's still going on today. But instead of worrying about it and being concerned about it, just leave it as it is. And it rights itself. Not always in the way you think it should. But the way you think it would wouldn't have been the right way anyway. Like I was an alcoholic. I didn't set out to be an alcoholic. And I got into a lot of trouble and a lot of bad situations. And it was wondering what this is all going to be. But that's what turned me to this stuff. And things happened there too when it suddenly moved away from where I could be talking to people. When we got the farm, had a drought, a flood, and it was all lost it all again. But I came back in and was able to talk to people, and people were starting to hear. And now the latest thing's going on, I've had a knee operation, can hardly walk around anymore. We'll see how that's going to work out. Might lose the life, who knows. Might turn around. But it resolves itself.
It does.
Do you want to add something?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But like what you're saying about like the mind and its involvement and management and Julia and it's like there's this like conviction or something happens where you stop paying that attention, that process, and it starts to drop. And then there's this, you know, we talked about mystery and enchantment, and when in the unknowing, the enchantment and the mystery is magnificent. It's it's the dropping of that pattern of believing that there's a thought or this, and life unfolds in a miraculous way that's totally. You're always falling in the unknowing constantly.
Yes.
You have no idea what's happening next, but there's a wonderful love for that not knowing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and then whatever the hell it is, good, bad, it doesn't make any bloody difference in the world because there's just. This goes back to even the basics of Satchit Ananda, like being and loving to be, and just loving to watch the show reveal and unravel itself, without a sense of a me or a thought saying this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. There's none of that. And even in corporate decisions and even in really intellectual, you find there's a stillness, and then the right, or not the right, the response just appears, and it doesn't really appear to anyone in particular. It's just an appearance of a response. driving the car, like you said, there's no thought to drive a car. It's just there's no thought required to live life. Life is being lived, as you're saying. That's just fantastic.
That's beautiful.
And that's all.
That's beautiful.
There was a Christian mystic, I forget what his name was, and wrote the book The Cloud of Unknowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And in that unknowing, this is the attitude, this is the open-hearted, open-minded attitude where you actually really are the space. You are the open space for whatever show up. If the wrong, so-called wrong decision shows up, or decisions will always show up, whatever has been conditioned by the environment, inner environment, outer environment, whatever, something will show up. Now, if the judgment will come that this was not ideal, something better or something different should have happened, that judgment is part of the landscape. And if you are the space in which that landscape presents itself, you are just, like Dean was saying, that open, curious attitude of the mystery, like, whoa, oh my gosh, what else is going to present itself? Magnificent. Even though it may be, like Bob was saying, losing everything. They lost all the money, farm, floods, fires, ended up on the streets almost, or, like this thing happens. We ended up in debt right now, and a big one. And so what? I mean, gosh, this is how life is unfolding. At least we're free, could have been worse. So, and just having that open attitude to, okay, there is pain, there is pleasure, there is joy, there is sadness, there is day, there is night, there is winter, there is summer. Oh, what's going to happen next? Yeah, I'm curious, I'm open, whatever. Let's life play out whatever it wants. Thy will is my will. I'm one with life. So whatever life throws at me is actually me throwing at me. I don't object to it. I don't object to anything. Although I would prefer if this one wasn't in pain, and I don't object to having that preference either.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, yes. And it's not in pain all the time, otherwise he wouldn't be aware of the pain. Pain would be filtered out. It always changes, even that. I think we have some thing here.
Time's just about caught up.
Okay, I'll just see if there is anything else. Relinquish the controller. Yeah. Just to wrap it up. Beautifully said Armanath. John David says to Armanath. And thank you. Whoopsie. And now, what is always perfect? What is always perfect, says Otul. That's right. Relinquish the controller, for there is no controller. The mind needs to know only. That's right, Julia. And Jasmine, do you have any tips on how to fall into the not knowing? How to fall into, just recognize you're already in it. Yeah, because if you're absolutely honest, the one thing that you know, only one that you know for certain experientially, is that you are. Who you are, what you are, where you are, they're all concepts, they're all ideas, images. Just like the dream, you are in the dream and you think you know where you are because your mind is kind of bringing images from the past and comparing it. And sometimes I wake up, sometimes I have 5-6 dreams to write down, and I have someone, was it that girlfriend of mine? No, it was kind of my sister. No, it was half of each, because that's how brain is recognizing the image in the dream. It was someone completely new. We don't know. We don't know where we are, who we are, where we're going, where we come from. We already don't know that. We only have beliefs about it. Just being completely honest, you realize that the only thing you know is that you are. Did you want to add something? No?
No, just that you are the absolute. That's all there is.
Yeah.
That's the whole core of the whole teaching. It's like there, and that's the core of the whole teaching. Like it's just there and there. It's just very simple. Like it's a sense of presence, and I think all the teachers they're really pointing you back to recognise a sense of presence, which is innately just constantly there. Like it can't not be there.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the attention. Something happens, and the sense of presence becomes more prominent, and it reveals itself to itself as itself, because that's all there really is, and everything else is just an overlay of stuff. And
of stuff.
Times.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have only a couple of comments, and that is, that is from Tanya. Thank you so much. All is well and is quiet now. So stop listening to this meeting. Good. Love you all. And then Amarnath, already that. Already in the best tip from Kat, but mind deny this. I think that's it. We are on the ball.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you all.
Love you all.